Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Convergence Coaching's HR Huddle. I am Samantha Mansfield, a senior consultant here with Convergence. And with me, of course, is Jennifer Wilson, our co founder and staple here on the HR Huddles. And as you may know, if you participate regularly, or if you're new, this is all things talent. So, what we like to bring to the table here in these conversations are really talent oriented topics for HR professionals and also leaders that are heavily involved, or maybe you're the HR component of your organization. So, today's topic is we were working with some practitioners today. We were talking a lot about the importance of social media in forming relationships and making connections. And when you think about HR, of course, that's a huge component. So as we look at the fall coming up and HR strategies of where we may start to think about recruiting, and this is really for talent of all ages. This is not just what we think of the youngest of individuals. I mean, our millennials are in their mid 40s at this point. And so we want to be cognizant of what our digital presence is when we really are looking at our recruiting and our talent management strategies. And so we thought that this would be a great topic for today because many people are about to go heads down in that fall peak season. So this may be a little quieter for you to be able to put some new plans together, get ready for the end of the year, and be able to have some things together for when your teams pick their heads back up in ways that you could support them in updating their profiles as well. So Jen, is there anything else you want to add to that as we get started?
Just that we also, as Samantha and I were kind of brainstorming a little bit on the subject, digital media in general, social media. So that sort of sometimes has us think about platforms, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but also like how you're using digital media to create communities in the firm, how you're using it to create external communities, what sort of campaigns have you been contemplating? And in talent, we really are trying to position our firm all the time as a destination workplace, a place people want to come and join and be part of. We want to be super attractive. We want to be differentiated if we can. We also want to be honest. Like we want to position authentically on things that happen at our firm and the way it feels to work and all those things. And so, it used to be that we tried to do that maybe with a flat website, why work for us? But now we can do so much more with video and with social media platforms and just different memes and videos and testimonials and a day in the life and all that stuff. So anyway, Samantha and I thought we ought to get in here with you today and talk about what are your plans there. And we don't want to overwhelm you with you thinking like we're picturing that you're going to hire a bunch of agencies and a bunch of spend a bunch of money here. This is we're mostly, I think, going to talk about things we think you can do yourself, hopefully. And so, that's just a little bit more color on it. How can talent use digital media more effectively to position the firm and build communities?
Absolutely. Because one of the key pieces we're talking about when we want to attract people is that we want to attract people that are attracted to our culture and that would be a fit within our organizations. Not that we're trying to have everybody that looks alike or thinks alike. Of course, that's not what we're doing, but we definitely want people that are saying, hey, I like the way that these folks represent what they stand for, maybe what their talent are out there talking about and saying about the organization, maybe how you celebrate people's successes. And that's where you can do like what Jen was just saying. We're not saying you need to go hire a marketing company to put this whole splash video together and so forth and using those different digital means. But it's really the more personable you can make the communications, the more that somebody gets the feeling like they're seeing inside and getting to know what it's like inside your organizations can just make it so much more impactful because it looks authentic. It feels authentic. I really get a sense of this is maybe what the people I will be working with, what they're really like, as opposed to it being something promotional. And so you can come up with various ideas. You can use your team to do this. I was talking to somebody today. They were saying, one of the ways that they use one of the platforms is they specifically use Instagram for recruiting. So we were talking an awful lot about LinkedIn, but they were saying, you know what, Instagram's really more my place that I do that. And I can share more pictures and I can be more about who I am and what I like and what the firm is about. And so that's something to think about as you're contemplating the different ways to do the outreach and how you put your content together, is really think about that we want people to be able to really see who we are as a firm. And Jen, I know you had ideas on that as well.
Yeah, I was going to kind of go a certain way, but then you said some things that make me want to go somewhere else for a second. One is, we see a lot of organizations let sort of the representative population take over the social media channels. So that's one idea that I just want to pop in here with. You made me think of it while you were talking, and it's like, the interns taking over Instagram. For instance, I love that, and it's, and, I know some firms are like, they still might think they need to be scripting social media and worried about it being, a mistake or a misstep being made. And yes, I guess that's possible. But if you give good guidelines, and Instagram doesn't have a lot of text, the pictures are tasteful, and they're representative of what they're experiencing, or the video is representative of what they're experiencing in the internship process. I know that can really be appealing to other college students, especially if they tag or hashtag any of their organizations they belong to, or the school they're going to, or whatever it might be. That's a really good way of positioning yourself authentically. The other is, this idea of a day in the life. And we're seeing a lot of a day in the life videos posted to Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, Threads, TikTok, all these different platforms, very short videos that say, hey, I'm an auditor. I'm on my way to measure grain in a grain elevator. Follow me up the stairs, and they climb up a ladder and stand at the top and look across this cool field. And that's a great, it's just an interesting video, and it positions the work, it positions the work. And I think we are well positioned with like almost a pocket protector, black rim glasses, button up shirt, way of being, sitting in front of a computer, calculating, using Excel. And I'm not saying that Excel can't be positioned as cool. We could talk about RPA, and we could talk about data analytics and, all kinds of things there. But just think about what's cool about your firm, what's cool about our profession, what's cool about the work. And another thing, just to say this, and then I'll stop and let you go wherever you want to take us, Samantha. The idea of not thinking we in HR have to figure out what these cool ideas are, because the talent that we have working with us at all levels really would have a lot of great ideas, and they could not just generate the idea, but execute the campaign, show it to you first, and then, and if it's multiple vignettes, you could have, a number of posts that you run over and over again that could really help position you as an employer of choice.
Well, and what a wonderful way to engage your talent and give them an opportunity to start participating at a higher level or contributing to the firm. And so, just a nice side benefit to what we're talking about and how you can include them, because we're always looking for those additional ways to get them involved and make them feel that they belong. And certainly, when they're participating in that, it serves a dual purpose, 100%. The other piece that I was really thinking about when you were talking about that too, Jen, of the day in the life and showing some of the diversity of what we do, I think it's so true in being able to give other people exposure to what type of diverse niches there are. And especially if your firm does have a very specific or unique niche, it's a great thing to put out there as a wow factor and to be able to show people what it can be. You could have some fun industries that you work with that people were saying. I was just talking to somebody that said, "Man, my son just wants to do nothing but be in the NBA." Well, that can't be for all of us, but if he's also got that real propensity for the numbers and making a difference in that field, well, maybe you could be working with professional athletes and so forth. I know some firms that do that. And so those are some fun things that you could do, that you can stand out, that you can talk about the fun and the unique. And I don't think enough firms really talk about those niches, the things that they do that are unique or different. Or sometimes I think we get worried about sharing that would somebody come to our firm for the wrong reason. But if they're strong in with their skills and they're passionate about what our clients do, that's only a winning combination. And so I really liked that idea, because I think sometimes we make it too much about the technical and we don't make it who we're serving and why we serve. And that's such a wonderful recruiting strategy that you can use, that could also be put out in your digital means. And that was just really striking me as you were talking about that too.
Yeah, we could have our clients speak for us. We could do small video vignettes where our clients say, "Here's what I really value about the people of firm ABC."
Mhm.
That where they talk about some unique attributes that they feel like they see across all of our people, or something like that, or how we've made a difference for them. All of those things. They don't just help incidentally with recruiting people to us; they
Right.
help with retention. They help
Yes.
our
Yes.
talent feel like, I belong to something pretty cool here. This is awesome.
Mhm.
And so, those are ideas I think that we should be looking at for sure. The
Mhm.
other thing is, I think that we should consider uh, different ways of making sure that our people are building community and involved in community
Yep.
digitally. And I do think I worry a little bit, and Samantha and I both had experience in the recently with people that work inside firms, younger people that work inside firms who really aren't very connected in social media. First of all, they need to like get set up with social media,
Mhm.
which I sort of surprises us. And maybe it's traditionalist old person social media that they need to get involved in, LinkedIn, whereas they're all over it with their phone and TikTok, let's say. But how can we help our people get engaged? Also, are you thinking about in your talent function using different digital mechanisms to build community internally,
Mhm.
like Teams? Are you all over Teams community groups?
Mhm.
And are you using ways to use specific types of interests? Like I know some firms, they might go a little bit all out, and you might not love this idea, but they have for all the people that cook, recipes and pictures and video and what's for dinner tonight. That's the group is called What's for Dinner Tonight, or something like that, to help share that kind of thing, share shared interests, but
Mhm.
also helping each other with something that helps with work. If I feel more empowered to get my family fed, and I have good ideas to do it, and I'm kind of having fun with other people in the organization while I'm doing it, that's kind of cool. So, thinking about that too, how else could we use our different digital platforms to build belonging, engagement, friendships, shared interests, that sort of thing. So I would have us think about that. Back to this idea that we have some people that aren't on LinkedIn, perhaps. I think part of orientation should be onboarding people and saying, hey, here are our social media accounts. We'd love you to like all of them. We're not going to force you to be on social media on all the platforms we're on.
Right.
But if you are, we'd love you. Here are the ways that you can further the firm's message or contribute to the firm's message.
Mm-hmm.
And here's how you can help. And giving people written ideas and a really simple checklist of how-tos and what to do. And then if they're not on those platforms but wish to be, some sort of support mechanism to get them up there. And whether that's an HR function that supports them in getting their profile built, or whether they get then handed off to somebody who's more of a marketer or business developer, it doesn't matter. But really making people feel like, I get how we use these here and I get how I could contribute. And I will tell you that almost universally, I run into people that don't know how they could contribute. They don't.
100%.
And so they are like, I want to help my firm. And sometimes I see what we post, but I'm not really sure what to do with that. So I think there's so much more we could do there to amplify what the marketplace knows about us and what it thinks about us by just being more intentional in our talent practices.
Yeah. Well, and with that, even giving people an idea of what to put on their profile if they would like to use a profile to be professional, because some of your team members may have some platforms that they use purely for the personal use, and that is fine and understandable. And then they have those that they use professionally. And so guiding them in, here are some great things to include on that professional, or giving them input like maybe badges or certificates that they've been earning through going through learning and development opportunities, even within your firm. Because one, you can celebrate the way that they are advancing themselves professionally, as well as you're helping them to just build a stronger. And what it does is it speaks to the support your firm gives in developing those individuals and giving them those opportunities to learn. I was actually working with a group of practitioners, and one of the seniors was saying, our firm should really be talking about that we do this kind of learning with our senior level. That was what she was so excited about, is that as a senior, our firm is giving us this kind of learning opportunity. And so those are things that, as HR, you can certainly promote those. You may enlist the support of other operational teams like marketing and so forth, but those are pieces where you're already working on that to keep the team strong and growing and speaking to the firm's commitment of development. But then let's go ahead and have it interplay with the digital platforms, which again, all then comes to the messaging we put out and speaks to the contribution that you're making in those professionals' lives and the excitement that they have about how their career is progressing. And that's that authentic, personal touch. And then the way the story is told is where that personable element can be in there.
Yeah. Well, and then I just had one other thought while you were sharing that, and that is the idea that we could also use as HR simple video vignettes and short live streams to engage our existing talent in Diginos, or hey, this is what's coming up for the fourth quarter. Or now, of course, firm-wide communications, you want them to integrate, you want them to be strategic, but I think that sometimes if HR in your organization does a lot of that firm-wide communicating, I think we're all sort of sick of email, putting out an email reminder that I need to get my, I need to tell you at year end whether or not any of my deductions have changed, and I need to whatever I have to do, my year-end stuff I'm supposed to give you in HR, there could be a fun way to get that across in a video or something, in addition to the traditional in writing email update or Teams message or whatever it is that you're doing now to try to get those kinds of HRE messages across. And I just was thinking here, we were talking about cool ways to position working for your firm, and maybe cool ways to position things HR needs from the people of the firm could be another use, and another fun way to play, and fun for talent to help you with too. So just another thought there.
Well, it is fun where we can break some of the norms and come up with new ideas and freshen it up instead of where it feels like that nagging reminder, right? Nobody likes that. And just to have a little fun with it. And if you're feeling like this is great, but I'm not that imaginative person, I don't come up with those ideas. Well, that's where leverage your community. Find a group on social media, see what else they're doing and what ideas they have for you as HR leaders and professionals, but also use generative AI and say, you know, I want to be this new and fresh perspective. Give me some ideas. And that's a great idea starter, is what I tend to find, is that it can at least spark the ideas, and then it starts flowing and you can go from there. So we hope that that's exactly what this did for you, is starting to give you some ideas, again, getting ready for this fall, getting ready for some new recruiting that you may be putting plans together even for next year, and ways to enlist your team. So please share in the comments what your ideas are, what you're doing. Keep the ideas flowing. Let us know what you'd like to see as a future HR Huddle topic. And we are appreciative of you joining us here today. So thank you and have a fabulous week.